Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Cup of Joe with Joe and Joe podcast. I'm your host Joe, and with me, as always, my wonderful co-host, Joe.
Our boy, Toshiro's back, and let me tell you, boy is strong.
Toshiro is one strong captain. I was gonna say a naughty word, but I'm not gonna say a naughty word right here in the beginning, Joe. We gotta be nice in the beginning, because I'm not gonna be nice going forward after this point.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so episode 23, Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War. We had a conversation, Joe, about how episode 22 was perhaps the weakest episode in all of 1,000-Year Blood War. I think we got a contender who's going to be challenging for first place in this scenario.
Yeah, fuck Pepe.
Yeah, I don't like Pepe. I don't like a lot of things in this episode. I have a lot of gripes with how they handle things and how things are like set up and then seemingly just kind of dealt with, and you're like, oh, I wanted to... Okay, I guess not. Chief among them, Gigi. And we'll get to it in a second here, but... No, you know what? Let's talk about it right now. So this is part 2 of March of the Zombies. We're dealing with Toshiro. He's a big old zombie boy. He kind of fucks up Ikaku. He slashes Yumachika. Those guys are out for the count for the time being. Miori, he's like, hey, I got a couple of drugs I want to test on you. And you're thinking, okay, how's he going to do this? And before you know it, the coolest part of this episode, it happens when Toshiro starts, like, flashing back and forth between fighting Miori and then, like, not fighting Miori. It's like, what is happening? What is going on here? Turns out, he was already drugged.
Yeah, this is by far my favorite part of the episode. Toshiro's awesome, and seeing him as a zombie was pretty cool, but I really love Miori. He's my favorite character in this episode. Very cool, the effects of the drugs and how they did it. I was a little tripping for a second, because in addition to the subtitles not working, Joe, I was like, wait a minute, are you telling me this thing's like skipping back and forth? I'm like, no, okay, this is just his ability.
But it's cool. I like the fact that I'm not going to be able to say exactly what Miori said with how he perceives the future and then it kills him and then he gets sent back into the present or whatever. I don't pretend to understand it. I don't care. That's one of the things I dislike about this episode is because it's all scientific mumbo jumbo. You got a lot of just people sitting there expositing all the shit that's going on. And that's throughout like the entire episode because you have the drug abilities, you have the explanation of how these different drugs are interacting with other things like blood and where people get certain types of blood and how it affects other people's blood, and then you get a new Quincy who utilizes a new ability and they have to explain that shit, and it's like the power of love or whatever, and it's like, you're unlocking to this way better, why are you doing it like this, fuck off. Doesn't matter. Needless to say, Miori subdues all of the zombies because Gigi ended up turning some of the other dead captains as well. And you're just kind of like, oh man, how's he gonna get through this? And of course he gets through it totally fine. He subdues them all with drugs that are in the Arankar's blood. So that's how he got it in the beginning. I noticed that, I was like, how did he do it? I didn't see him drug him. And it's like, oh, okay. The Arankars, when you get sprayed with their blood, you get drugged. So that was a neat little thing. But going on to what I said that I didn't really like all that much. Gigi. She's just cowering behind some rocks, like 10 feet away from the battlefield. And the entire time, like, no one goes for her. I guess because there are other bigger threats you gotta deal with in the moment with the zombified captains. But then Miori just says to her, he's like, yeah, I turned your zombies into my zombies. And she's like, oh no. And he's like, and you lose. And he just stabs her. And I was like, what? And then we never see Gigi again for this episode. I don't know if she's coming back. I would like to imagine she would at some point, because I feel like you gave this character so much build-up, and then you completely cut it off. There's zero payoff with it to me. I don't know, Gigi was the most interesting thing in the last 2 episodes. Disturbing, fucked up. I was like, whoa, this is really weird and awful, and it's like the most intriguing part of Bleach so far for me in the last couple of episodes. And she's just gone.
I'm very confused what's going on. I feel like that's my main complaint with this episode. I feel like it was just kind of all over the place, very confusing. Again, still looks good. The actual fight scenes look great. Yeah, I don't know, is Gigi coming back? I thought there was more about Gigi. Like, I thought we'd get more, but maybe I'm wrong. We get to see Byakuya. He's back. He just, like, casually takes down 3 Sternritters, and I was like, damn, okay.
I have comments on that.
Go ahead.
It's always cool seeing Byakuya just kick ass. My problem, though, is that these are Okay, hang on, I'm gonna sound really snobby if I haven't already been sounding really snobby. So there's something to be said for power scaling in anime. Most of the time it's absolute bullshit. It doesn't really matter. However, in this instance, I'm going to be talking about it a little bit and how it kind of fucks with everything. We know Byakuya is powerful. We've known since like the second or third arc when he's introduced and fucks up Ichigo. But then he takes on 3 Sternritters when most every other captain takes on 1, and they get like severely fucked up by them. And I know he's been up into the Sky Palace and he got really strong. So did Rukia, so did Ichigo, so did Renji. Each one of them had their own problems dealing with individual Sternritters. To be fair, I think Ichigo wasn't really... He was dealing with quite a few, and also he didn't really want to kill them, seemingly. I don't know what he was doing. He was kind of just... They're keeping his shit under wraps, except for the new Getsuga, which is cool as hell. But when Byakuya takes down 3 Sternritters, like it's no fucking problem, I start to get a little confused as to, number one, how powerful he is, and then how powerful Ichigo is, and then how powerful the Sternritters are. Because I was under the impression that still, even with their extra training, like, he got fucked up by Asnot in the beginning. And Asnot, granted, it was a surprise attack sort of a thing, but still, fucked up by one guy who didn't even have his, like, awakened form. They have 3 guys, all in their awakened forms, and he's just like, Senbo and Sakura, it's got it. And then it's fine. And you're like, I don't know, man, it just seems a little lazy to me.
Yeah, that part was a little confusing. I don't really know. And I would like to see, you know, again, Pepe, the actual main guy he has to fight. Oh god, probably my least favorite character by a long shot. I hate this guy.
He makes me so uncomfortable in a similar way to Gigi, but
Gigi was an interesting uncomfortable. This is a, oh god, shut up.
this is like, you know, this character is just made to get a laugh, especially when his awakened form comes out, or his von Stoldick, and it's just literally Cupid. And he has the moment where Byakuya is frozen in place by his stupid love whip bullshit, and he's like, wait, no, I will take him out myself. And so he pulls out the little bow and arrow from his stupid baby diaper, and he goes to fire on him, and I'm just like, I'm getting so tired of the trope of you've got the hero right where you want him, and you're about to kill him, like you're mid-swing, you're gonna kill him, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, wait. I will do it, and I will take 30 seconds so the hero has ample time to get free and fuck me up. And that's exactly what he does. Well, that's not really what he does, it's kind of what the zombies do. It was wonderfully gratifying seeing Kensei
Oh yeah,
just
yeah. I was gonna
punch
say
this
that
guy
it
in
was awesome.
the fucking face. It was so good. I love that shit. I was like, good, get this guy out of here. And then, I think this is my favorite part of the episode. Not like this whole fight shit. It's actually the very end. Not the very, very end, because there's an end credit scene. But at the very end of like the episode proper, where he meets up with the little blonde chick. And she's like, hey, you tried to have us all kill each other. And he's like, I'm sorry. And she's like, nah, you don't get out of this. And then she fucking chain chomps him. Cool, great, get rid of him. If there's one thing I will praise this episode for, it's for taking out all of these other Sternritters that I don't give a shit about. It took out the 3 with Byakuya, it took out this stupid love guy. Good, get him out of here. I don't want to see him anymore.
I think that is the good thing with this episode. I think this is we gotta sweep some stuff under the rug, tie some loose ends, and then we're gonna move on to the big boys.
Yeah, which I am excited about, because the very end of this, the end credit shit, we see Yuha, Uryu, and we see Hashwalt. They're there. They made it to the Soul Palace. Yuhaba even remarks, so this is what the Soul Palace looks like. So I guess he's never been there before. I was under the impression that perhaps he had at least seen it before, but I guess not. Either way, I'm happy for a change of scenery, because I'm starting to feel it, Joe. This is what I was saying. You asked me about the red sky many, many episodes ago, and just like the look of the Seirete at this point and how I liked it. And I remember saying I enjoyed it, but I can definitely get some Waco Mundo vibes from it, where it's gonna kind of get repetitive for me. And this episode is the one where I was really starting to feel it, where it's like, okay, everything looks the same because it's just the blood red sky and the icy blocks and buildings. And I'm kind of like, all right, if we could switch it up now, that would be lovely. Thank you.
I didn't start feeling it until the end credit scene, and then it was like the light and the brightness of the Soul Palace. I was like, oh, this is so much better. Even next episode, if we get a little bit of like cutting back between like Soul Palace and then the Seirete with the ice and everything, that would be fine. You know, kind of some nice contrast here and there. But yeah, a whole episode dedicated just in that background. You're kind of like, oh boy, I need a little sunshine, please.
Yeah, having some.
I'm not talking about Mayori either.
No, exactly. Not talking about that fucking sundress of his. Another interesting thing, absolutely no mention or showing of Ichigo and the gang or anyone like in relation to them. Like they're still presumably in the science cannon ready to get blasted off like Team Rocket. So maybe we'll see them next episode, or maybe we just won't see them for a couple episodes. Who knows?
Yeah, this was a weak one. It was still fun to watch. I still like watching it, and I still get excited to watch the episodes. But this was by far like the, oh boy, I'm kind of checking how much time I have left on this episode.
Yeah. Sorry to end on such a downer, but you know, they can't all be winners. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed the episode a little bit more than we did, because we didn't like it that much. I fucked up the way I normally do the outro, so now my brain just won't work for how to do an outro. So now I gotta vamp until I remember how to do the outro. And it might be coming back to me right now. As always, everyone, we'll love you, we'll leave you, and goodbye.